Has anyone noticed this huge trend on social and in the media, this big push towards Christianity and Jesus? And there's one side of the token, hey, this is awesome. People are finding Jesus. They're pursuing a path of whatever that happens to be to you. But to me, so much of it's performative. Has anyone else noticed this? I mean, guys that were complete online, belittling people. 6-7 months ago, a guy like Andy Elliott, fat shaming people on stage. I mean, his content is just yelling and screaming and calling people out. And then now, if you go to his page, it's Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It's like this new soft tone or whatever. Is that really how he felt? That's how he's always felt? Or is it because his business has tanked and he's trying a new approach to try to bring other people in? Maybe treating people like isn't the right way to grow a business. And so much of it's performative. I just released a podcast today really around what does it mean to have God first or put God first in your life? And to me, it's not just how you show up on a Sunday. If you're a man or even a woman that shows up on Sunday and goes through the motions, does all the things and shows up one way, but then you are a completely different person outside of that, that's not really putting God first. That's putting the church first. So call it what it is. Make sure your words and actions are aligned. I also just wrote an article like that on Substack. The link to my podcast and the article is in my bio. But just because you say something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. You might want that to be the case. I had a client that said his number one priority were his children. And so as I dug deeper, he spent very little time with him. His number one priority was work, but he couldn't say it. I'm like, well, dude, that's where you're putting all your time. Your number one priority is work. Just own it. Just state it. But he couldn't own that. He couldn't say it because it was too uncomfortable, but it was the truth. He wanted his kids to be the priority. I could see that. He desired that, but he wasn't willing to make shifts and adjustments in order to actually make sure that his words and actions are aligned. So an invitation to all of us that whatever you prioritize, whatever you state, your words and more importantly, your actions need to match that. Otherwise, it's just an intention, it's a desire, but it's not your number one. Your number one is where your time goes. Your calendar will really tell you what your number one priority is. How you show up when you're alone, how you show up when nobody's watching. That is the sure tale to know like what your priorities are. And because so much of it's a performance, so much of it is how other people see us. And the real test, if God's first, is how you show up all the time, regardless of who's there and regardless who's watching. Because the irony in this whole thing is God is always watching and you can't hide anything from him.